is Minding Your Business, the show for absolutely incredible entrepreneurs. I'm your host, June Middleton. We have three superb, internationally renowned musicians with us this evening. And they are outstanding in the world of classical music. They have been praised internationally for their incredible ability to perform the music of the old masters as well as performing music of contemporary composers. Contemporary composers love to have them play their music, and I love to listen to it. And I am thrilled to have them as my guests on this show this evening. We have Maestro Jean-Pierre Schmitt, and he knows I love calling him Maestro.
I love to be called Maestro.
And we have the outstanding classical saxophonist, Javier Oviedo. Together, they created the Classical Saxophone Project. Their goal was to foster awareness of the classical repertoire of the saxophone. And they have done this successfully in concerts around the world, on recordings, and this year in two incredibly successful concerts at Carnegie Hall. And I am honored to have them here on the show. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
We also have a very special guest on the show this evening, I'm pleased to say. We have Italian-born violinist Alessandro Borgomanero, one of the most renowned and exciting international violinists I have had the pleasure of seeing. He is exciting to listen to and also equally exciting to watch. He's a hunk. He elicits bravos from his audiences. Javier and Alessandro will be performing for us this evening, solo and together. Maestro Jean-Pierre, let's start with you. I am always impressed watching you on the podium. You are artistry in motion, without a doubt. And were you the founder of the French-American Chamber Orchestra here in New York?
It was a French-American, yes. I was in 1997. Created the French-American Chamber Orchestra in New York. Mm-hmm. And we performed many concerts at Carnegie Hall, Wild Recital Hall, and until the dissolution of the school in 2012.
Yeah, you are just such an elegant conductor. You must be invited to be a guest conductor, I would imagine, with a lot of orchestras around the world.
I am.
Internationally as well. And tell us something about the Classical Saxophone Project that you and Javier co-founded.
Well, when I met Javier in 2006, we talked about the saxophone. I was hiring him as a teacher, the saxophone teacher, the French-American School of Music, of which I was the director. And we talked about the saxophone, which I didn't know very much at the time, I must admit. Only on its use in jazz, and not very well aware of the classical use of the saxophone. And from this simple discussion and a few ideas, well, here we are, a few years later.
My gosh, and you've done an incredible job in being the classical saxophone to the forefront of classical music, as well as even some jazz musicians becoming interested and listening.
Absolutely.
And how many concerts have you done now at Carnegie Hall since you started the Classical Saxophone Project?
At Carnegie Hall, I think this is the third. It was the third yesterday. We performed 3 concerts, unless I'm mistaken.
Well, you've had wonderful guest artists, and it is just such a pleasure to have the guest artists that you had at the most recent concert at Carnegie Hall. And now that was the finale for this season?
Yes, that was the finale, yes.
Well, Alessandro, it's such a pleasure to have you here. And you were absolutely fantastic in your performance at Carnegie Hall. And it was just, the piece that you played mesmerized the audience. They were just absolutely thrilled. And, well, I'm sure you must have heard the reaction that you had. It was a very exciting, really exciting piece.
Yeah.
And now you were born in Italy,
Yes.
but you have spent and played over 100 concerts in Brazil.
Yes.
And are you artistic director of chamber orchestra there or philharmonic?
Yes, I live in Brazil since 15 years. I grew up in Brazil, and I lived since 15 years in Brazil, where I'm a teacher at the University of Violin, and I have this chamber orchestra, which I conducted for 5 years, and we transformed it. We made it to transform it in a philharmonic orchestra of the state of Goiás. And this is a recent upgrade that we made 3 years ago, that we managed to have this upgrade from a chamber orchestra to full philharmonic orchestra.
Now, has the violin always been your instrument?
Yeah, the violin has always been my instrument and will
what-
always be my instrument.
Oh, I should think so.
Always be my instrument, yeah.
Now, has music been composed for you?
Yes, I did some first performances of violin concerti, and I did some recordings of Brazilian composers that composed violin concerti for me. And this was done in 2011 and 2010. I did these first performances and recordings of several pieces.
Now, will you honor us, please, by playing a piece for us?
Of course, with great pleasure.
Oh, terrific. What will it be?
Look, it's an interesting Brazilian piece that I prepared and thought it might be interesting for the American and New York audience. From Brazilian composer Flauzino Valle. He composed 24 preludes for violin solo, and he was a very fine violinist, born in 1894 in Brazil. And it has an interesting story, this piece, because the great American violinist Jascha Heifetz went to Brazil after Second World War in 46, 47, and had a tour and met this violinist. And he was so impressed by his work that he got one of these preludes, 22 preludes, called Near the Fire, and wrote a piano accompaniment for this piece, which was...
what's the name of the piece that you're going to play?
I'm going to play from Flauzino Valle, Prelude number 22, Eternal Youth.
Terrific. Thank you. Stage is yours.
Thank you.
You were wonderful. That was lovely. I just really am enamored by your playing, your performance, your music. You are truly an artist. It's just so nice to have you here and a privilege to have you playing for us.
Thank you very much.
Javier, you know. You know what's coming. You,
Don't we know?
I can only guess.
you know I had developed a real love for the saxophone and the classical repertoire, and it's primarily, and that's not primarily, it is only because of you.
Thank you, June. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Oh,
Thank you.
it's
Thank
it's
you.
wonderful. And of course, with you conducting,
Oh, yes.
that's
Oh, yes.
a big part of it. And you are so good and keep getting better. I
Oh,
don't
thank
understand
you.
how that happens, but you're just
Practice, practice, practice.
Ah. And you know, that's interesting that you say practice, practice, practice. When I was watching you at the concert, your finale at Carnegie Hall, I was thinking, how much time does he have to do anything else? He must practice, what, all day long, every day?
Well,
I mean,
I wish I could do that, but
because you
gotta
also
eat,
teach, don't you?
Gotta work, gotta make some money. Yes, I teach. In fact, at the studio, at our studio that we keep in Manhattan, we teach lessons and give classes. I also teach at various other schools in town, also in Connecticut at the university position there. So there's a lot of running around, and then somewhere in there you've got to practice. Somewhere in there you've got
I
to
would
make the
think
show
so.
work.
And someplace you have to sleep at some point.
yeah.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Now, did you debut at Lincoln Center a few years ago?
Yes, 2 years ago, 2014, in fact, we premiered. Well, we gave the debut performance of Hélène Rasquier's piece Samsara for 2 saxophones and string orchestra.
Now, you play every sax in the saxophone family, don't you?
I'm able to. I normally spend my time with the soprano and the alto saxophones, the higher 2 of the family. But I
Do you
am
have
able
a
to.
favorite? Those 2 are the favorites?
I think. Well, I like I lean toward the soprano. That's sort of my voice, my personality.
It's very sexy also.
It's very sexy. It's and
Yeah,
it's and sweet.
I mean,
just
let's
like
put
me.
it out there. It is. Yes.
Yes.
Would you perform a piece for us this evening?
I would love
Please
to.
don't say no.
Oh,
Yes.
Let me think about it.
What will it be?
I will be performing actually a piece called Colored Tones by Faye Ellen Silverman. She is a living composer, New York composer, a good friend of mine from the New School. And I met her about 12 years ago, and she's written a few pieces for me. These are solo pieces. So this is a piece called Colored Tones for solo soprano saxophone.
Oh, please go right ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, gee, another wonderful performance by Javier Oviedo. He knows that I love his music. I guess I can say that I love you too.
Oh, thank you. Why not?
And I want to thank you so much for being our guest this evening. It has just been such a pleasure.
Thank you so
What
much.
are your plans? Are you going to do more work together with, you're going to Alessandro play with them more, I hope?
This is our plan.
This is the hope.
This was our first collaboration, and we really hope that will not be the last. And we have already plans and to perform,
Oh, that's
to
wonderful.
record. And
That's wonderful. And thank you to our wonderful crew, and a very special thanks, of course, to our control room people, Pepsi and Gietto, and a very, very special thanks to Rich and Manhattan Neighborhood Network for making this show possible. You have been watching Minding Your Business, your musical business this evening, and the show for very talented, outstanding classical music and otherwise business entrepreneurs. I'm your host, June Middleton. Please join us again, and remember, see yourself where you want to be, even if you have to spend all of your time rehearsing and practicing to get to their level, because they are incredible. So what are your plans? Are you going to Paris? I heard that someone said you might be going to Paris
well,
to record.
we are going to France for 2 concerts, and then we'll probably rest a little bit and start a new season
Yes.
with a lot of projects, a lot of concerts.
Yes, next
All right,
year. is
well,
looking
very
exciting.
quickly, too, in the time that we have left, how are you supporting the project? How do you market? Because you had a very good, have had very good attendance at your concerts, and this was before they had the experience of Alessandro. So you certainly have drawn a crowd. And how are you marketing the project?
Well, we've been lucky to meet a few people that are more inclined to the business side of things, and they're sold on what we do, and they have given their time and their talents for us, marketing and financial help, and even social media and all of that. So we've been very, very fortunate, and I think with this new collaboration with these new people, I think things are going to really pick up for us even more.
And people who want to make contributions, how do they contact you?
They can go to our website at www.classicalsaxproject.org, or they can call the office at 212-245-2779.
All right, say the number one more time, please.
212-245-2779.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you'll take checks, cash, money
Checks,
orders,
cash, money
bonds,
orders, bonds,
inheritances,
yes, all of it. We even accept donations in kind if you have services. We are a nonprofit organization.
We are looking for volunteers, in
Volunteers.
fact, to help us.
Yes.
And
all
do
of
you
the
reach
above.
out to any of the music schools, like
We do.
Manus?
We do.
Yes, we do. And some of the business schools, in fact. We have some
Ah, that's a
contacts
very
with
good
Columbia
idea.
University, NYU, various colleges around town.
The two of you play beautifully solo, but I think it would be such a treat for us if you would close the show for us by playing a duet.
No, we'd love to.
Of course.
Oh,
Yes.
No problem.
wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful. What will it be?
We will play from
You
Bach.
do stand-up comedy also.
We organized the piece from Bach. It's a transcription of an invention, 2-voice invention from Bach, and it's transcribed for violin and saxophone alto.
Oh,
Soprano. Sorry, soprano. Soprano. So alto is high. No,
wonderful.
soprano.
Well, thank you so
Soprano for
much,
sure.
and we would love to hear it.
Great,
So
we'll do it.
please take it away. Bye.